Time, you still tune in to News and Views with myself, Dumakude, and we're going to be kickstarting the show with a very, very important conversation. One of government's flagship interventions, this following last year's crackdown on non-compliant Spaza shops, was the creation of a support fund, which essentially was set up to help legitimate township businesses meet new regulatory requirements. But questions are now being raised over transparency. This after the Small Enterprise Finance Development Agency, or SEFDA, requested an additional 30 days to disclose information about the fund. The South African Consumer Rights Organization says the delay raises fresh concerns about accountability and whether the public is getting the full picture of how this money is being managed. So, yeah, we're going to be starting the show with that and asking some questions. Is this simply a matter of administrative processes taking longer than expected, or are there deeper transparency issues at play? And joining us now is Clantis, Dumakude, Legal and Constitutional Affairs Lead at the South African Consumer Rights Organization. Good morning, Clantis. I really appreciate you giving us your time.
I'm so sorry. I don't know if it's you or me who's having network problems.
I'm able to hear you loud and clear. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, sorry. All good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me.
No, pleasure is all ours. And I want to jump right into the conversation. Why is your organization challenging this extension request? I mean, 30 days doesn't seem that long, but you guys have issues with that. Do you mind unpacking it for us?
Well, we have written to the minister earlier this year, probably April, when the discovery of the 500 million rand that was supposed to be distributed to South African Spaza shop owners. And so we were not seeing anything happening. So we started asking questions to the minister. Hey, what is going on? We were ignored, I think, for probably 2 months or so. But we sent a follow-up, what do you call this, communique, and we were sent, eventually they did respond, but they shifted us to another department, and we said, no, we are dealing with you because the money is in your hand, not in some department that you are sending us to. And so we kept quiet all this while to now when we wrote another, letter, and suddenly she is asking for an extension. We don't have a problem, by the way, with the extension. What we want to see is that indeed on the 30th day, you are going to provide the information that we request. However, we did find out that out of the 500 million rand, 79 million rand was spent to about 1,300 South African Spaza shops, as they say. So we are asking what happened then to the 421 million rand. So I guess that's what we are going to be awaiting to hear the answer in 30 days.
Government has, repeatedly said that, they're supporting the township economy and Spaza shop businesses, and that they are now a priority. Doesn't now then transparency become even more important when public money is being involved? And those that do say, I've given this kind of funding, this kind of support from government, are you guys seeing the green shoots of that? Are there examples that you can point at to say that, we've seen X and Y actually receive a portion of this fund and it has helped accelerate their business in some shape or form?
Well, as SACR, it is very important to us that this aspect of our constitutional democracy, it is respected, the public purse. That is why we are very unrelented as well as steadfast in making sure that the public purse, every cent that is spent, it is explained, broken down, and if there is any irregularity, they need to be held accountable, whether that is through the minister stepping down or we go straight to court so that we do get the actual breakdown. Now, to come to your question, no. The Minister of Small Business and Development, we as SACR believe that she does not know what she's doing. She don't know whether she's going or coming. I also think maybe it might be incompetence. If it's not incompetence, she got the job because she's a comrade.
Classic case of catered deployment. I want to come to the Promotion of Access to Information Act, or the POPIA Act. Does it allow public institutions to ask for extensions like this, and under what circumstances would it then be permissible to do so?
Well, like you mentioned, access to information, that is a constitutional provision in our constitution, that an organization such as SACR requests access to information, that we do get that information because it is South African people's constitutional right. PMFA also is one of the financial breakdown document that must be published to the people of South Africa, so people of South Africa can know where this money was spent. But here's the interesting thing about this 1,300 recipients. We'll put it in air quotes right now because we still don't have the information. You did see the public protector coming with some bombshells with receipts. And out of those bombshells, we found out that there are 12, in fact, for Gauteng alone, not South Africa. Gauteng alone has 12,000 Spaza shops. Out of that 12,000, 7,000 are owned by South Africans. And the reason why I'm also using air quote here is because upon further investigation by the public protector, they discovered that of the 12,000 Spaza shops that are owned by Somalis, Ethiopians, etc., 7,000 are under South African people's names. Now the question is, did Stella Ndabeni do her due diligence when she distributed that 79 million rand? Did she give it to South Africans, or did she give it to a South African to give to a Somali or a Pakistani or whatever the case might be? So that is exactly what we also request to know from the minister. Who did you give this money to?
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important question to ask. I want us to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about just the ecosystem of Spaza shops here in South Africa, and some of the observations that you guys made, like the one that you're making now, when it comes to how many Spaza shops are there and exactly how many of them are owned by South Africans, and the impact of the lack of transparency when it comes to how all of it was funded. I think there's still a whole lot more we can unpack, and we can do that after the short break.
Right.
It's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Right now, over 150 million children around the world are orphaned, facing hunger, hardship and uncertainty. With Islamic Relief's Orphan Sponsorship Program, you can provide a child with access to education, nutritious food, essential healthcare, and a safe home. Your sponsorship is not just support, it's hope, security, and a brighter future. Be the reason an orphan child smiles again. Sponsor an orphan today with Islamic Relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations innovations. Call now on 042 203 1400 or visit quantu.co.za. The Quantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Are you banking with convenience, transparency, and flexibility? With Al Baraka Bank's transactional banking account, you can enjoy convenient everyday banking designed around your needs. Benefit from zero fees on point-of-sale transactions and manage your banking easily through Al Baraka's secure mobile banking app and internet banking platform. From everyday payments to managing your personal or business banking, Al Baraka makes banking simple, transparent, and convenient. Visit albaraka.co.za to learn more. Al Baraka, your partner bank. Al Baraka Bank Limited is an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
90 minutes past 8 Central African time, and you're still tuning into News and Views with myself, Dumakude, and I'm in conversation with Clantis Dumakude, and we're talking about Spaza shops and this 30-day extension on the Spaza shop funding information that essentially needs to be disclosed. And Clantis, before we went on to that short break, there was a very, very important, I think, point that you raised about the state of the informal Spaza shop sector here in South Africa. And from your perspective, as an organization, you spoke about the public protector and some of the observations she made about the number of Spaza shops that are there, how many of them are owned by South Africans. What would you say is the most interesting aspect, something that as South Africans, we don't really know and quite understand about the Spaza shop industry and how it ultimately got out of the hands of South Africans?
Well, as we do some investigations as SACR, we are discovering that this is an industry that it's either sold to Pakistanis and Somalis and all these guys, or the Somalis, Pakistanis and them, they are paying an extortion fee to politicians. And I'm talking people sitting in the National Assembly here. Because the way, if you look also at what is going on in South Africa right now, these four nations are untouched. They're unmoved or shaken by everything that is happening in the country. And when you hear some talks, they will tell you straight that I don't think ex-politician or ex-minister is going to be happy to hear what you are telling me, some things of that nature that we've heard. So we believe, or at least the evidence is showing, that the tuck shop or the township economy has been sold, or it's being extorted, those that are owners of these Spaza shops, and they feel a sense of belonging and entitlement that South Africans can't say or do anything for that matter. Otherwise, go deal with them.
Very, very concerning. Have you seen indication that, this delay could, I don't know, maybe prejudice businesses that are waiting for assistance from the government, or is this purely about public accountability?
It's definitely public accountability that must drive whatever it is that in the constitutional democracy or dispensation has. Otherwise, what are we doing? Yeah.
I want to come to recourse here, because my next question is, what happens if SEFDA fails to provide the requested information after this additional 30 days? What legal avenues remain available?
Well, we believe we have built our case with the communique since April to the minister, and we believe we've exhausted our avenue. And the best place now to get some sort of a response, it's either we send a legal letter to the minister or we see the minister in court.
And just more broadly, what does this tell us? When it comes to oversight, when it comes to government funding programs in South Africa, because this is not the first time we hear, of such initiatives, which on paper they look quite great, but the implementation of it is always very, very dodgy.
Yeah. We do. These are initiatives that we are past initiatives that were never delivered on, especially concerning youth development, entrepreneurs, anything that government funded for the betterment of South Africans. We are looking into what did these things, or were these things delivered, and if they were not delivered, why? And if we don't get the answers, what happened to the money? And if we don't get the answers, then it looks like SIU and SACR will be best of friends. I'm talking in terms of us going to them and asking for investigations to be done here. But to answer your question, like I had said earlier, it doesn't look like Stella Ndabeni. She doesn't know whether she's going or coming in this department. There is nothing I believe she can actually show us and say, since I've taken over in 2004, this is what I'm doing, and these are actual projects that are at this stage. They are, I don't know whether they failed or they are succeeding, or whatever the case might be. We would be getting some kind of an update, but we don't get any oversight response or updates, progress, nothing. But yet taxpayers' money has been spent. And I think they've gotten so used to it because we don't ask questions as South Africans.
And that's definitely the most concerning part. Finally, Clantis, before I let you go, what would success look like from your perspective? Is it simply just about receiving the documents that you guys are asking for, or the broader reforms that you're also hoping to see?
Well, for us, our biggest goal is the reform of the Constitution. All of these things that are happening in our country, they are being enabled by very important sections of the Constitution that we want to reform as SACR. We believe once we have dealt with that, everything else will trickle down and will begin to work.
Do you mind outlining some of those constitutional amendments that you guys would like to see?
Yeah, the preamble of the Constitution, because now I'm seeing a whole lot of foreign television stations, especially here on the African continent, misinterpreting South Africa belongs to all who live in it. They bring in Nelson Mandela, that, it's laissez-faire in South Africa. It's yours too. Please come over. Do whatever it is that you want to do to the people of South Africa. Do whatever it is that you want to do. So that part of the Constitution is a problem. And also what we believe is enabling South African government from beating South Africans is not like wrestling with the bull. Speaking about injustices of the past when we know very well what you're talking about. We've been through two evils, if not three, colonialism and apartheid. And both these evils displaced South Africans and also disproportionately gave us things that to this very day we are like this. And this is a very bad position to be in.
There we go. Clantis Dumakude, legal and constitutional affairs leader at the South African Consumer Rights Organization. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I think a really, really interesting conversation there. That the South African Consumer Rights Commission regulator asking for, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Minister Ndabeni and her team do respond to that. But yeah, we're going to be switching gears coming up after the break. We'll be looking at the Trump administration's hardline immigration policy, which is under scrutiny once again. This is despite growing criticism from international human rights organizations. The United States of America continues deporting migrants, and they're not deporting them to their countries of origin. They are deporting them right next door, Eswatini. And some of them are really unpalatable characters. These are criminals and people that have done heinous crimes in the US. And the US says, well, we're not going to deal with you anymore. We're going to ship you out to any country that can receive you, obviously for a few millions of dollars. But yeah, it looks like Eswatini has become one of those countries that are taking in migrants from the United States of America. And we'll be just looking at the consequences of this. What does it mean for the people that are being deported, and why Eswatini? And what obligations does the Kingdom of Eswatini have under international law? And most importantly, Amaswati themselves, how are they viewing this, knowing and understanding that your government is importing migrants from different parts of the world that you don't know about, you don't know where they'll be staying, will they be integrated in your communities, and so forth and so on. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting conversation that we're going to be looking at right after this short break.